Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Should You Play, where I show you some spoiler-free gameplay and give you my thoughts after playing new games for a few hours, while also highlighting and checking out at least one of the PlayStation Plus games for each month. In this video I'm playing one of the June 2025 PlayStation Plus games, NBA 2K25, the 26th game released in the NBA 2K franchise, which released in 2024. After hockey and baseball, basketball is probably my third favorite of the major sports, but it's honestly been a while since I've even touched an NBA title. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you've probably also already heard me talk about annual sports games and the lack of real competition and innovation within the genre, so I'll just skip it this time and get straight into things.
We'll see you then. Enjoy the game.
For those of you who might be unfamiliar with basketball, it's a team-based sport where two teams of 5 players each try to score points by getting the ball through the other team's basket, with different scores for different types of shots and some rules on how players can move around. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but if you don't really care about the sport and just want to get into the game without being at a complete loss, that's all you really need to know. NBA 2K25 comes with quite a few different game modes, most of which are returning from previous entries with a few tweaks here and there. The main story mode is called My Career, and it lets you create your own custom character and play through a narrative mode while talking to journalists, working with your coach and manager, and of course, playing a series of games. Then there's My Team, a mode where you collect cards of current and past NBA players to build your dream roster and complete challenges to earn rewards. My NBA Eras lets you jump into historical periods such as the Jordan era or the Steph era and play out seasons, and it's also the mode where My GM is housed, which lets you take on the role of a team's general manager. There's also a Play Now mode where you can access online and offline games, as well as a WNBA mode where you can play through the career of a WNBA player or manager. If you're just looking to practice the game, Learn 2K is where you can access a series of different tutorials and training modes, and lastly, there is 2K TV, but it's more of a television show with opportunities to earn virtual currency through trivia rather than a mode of play.
This is Scoot Henderson, and you're watching NBA 2K TV.
Aside from the broadcast presentation, gameplay is NBA 2K25's strongest feature, but it's not without its problems. You can set up matchups between modern teams and classic ones alike, like a game featuring the 1985 Celtics versus the 2025 Pistons, and the on-court action generally felt responsive and fluid. CPU teammates behave more intelligently than they did in past games, with them being able to space the floor better and generally play as more of a team, but you'll still likely notice some odd choices from them here and there.
It is what it is, right?
As for when you're actually playing, offense in particular feels really accessible, but defense is where the player base seems to be a bit split. Some players feel it's quite solid and just takes practice to perform properly, while others will argue that the CPU players will always find a way to work around you no matter how you play, and I'd have to agree with that based on the games that I played. One other minor thing that I'll note is that I'm not really a fan of the city, which is the area that's meant to act as a hub for online and My Career gameplay, letting you make accessory purchases and join other social modes. It's a cool idea at face value, but I've played other games that had similar areas, with Jump Force coming to mind first, and to me, all it really feels like is a big space that you have to spend time jogging around rather than just being able to select an item from a menu. Here's where I'm gonna get really critical though, because NBA 2K25 has some of the most aggressive in-game monetization that I've ever seen in a paid title. Every time you boot the game up, you'll be met with at least 1 or 2 pop-ups to buy the game's virtual currency, and My Career and My Team both feel especially pay to win, with attributes and card packs being mostly locked behind these walls. You can of course earn virtual currency through in-game activities such as completing My Career games, but the amount you typically earn is incredibly low and absolutely feels intentional to push the in-game purchases. If you're not planning on playing My Career or My Team that much, you won't have to worry about this, but you'll definitely feel the slow progression of earning if you do focus on these modes.
This is different, man.
Moving on to a positive though, as with most modern sports games, broadcast presentation is the big highlight, and NBA 2K25 is no exception.
I've been looking forward to this.
In most games, camera angles are varied and largely replicate what you'd expect to see on a national television broadcast, while still keeping things readable with the standard above-the-court viewpoint during actual gameplay. There's a few angles here and there that I consider to be odd choices, having worked as a camera operator across a range of sports, but for every one odd angle, there are 200 or 300 good ones, so it's easy to not even register them most of the time. Additionally, if you decide to play in My NBA Eras, you'll definitely notice the retro video effects that aim to make the gameplay look more era appropriate, even more so in the older ones.
There is no better time of the year.
The commentary is surprisingly fresh as well. Having played about 15 games from start to finish, I don't think I noticed any repeated dialogue beyond standard introductions or some 1 or 2 word calls, and it extends beyond the quarters into timeouts and highlight packages too.
And we might see some changes. Coach potentially looking to adjust.
There's also a good amount of in-arena entertainment, including dance cams and performances from the cheerleaders and dancers, but of course you can just skip right through all of these if you just prefer to get back to the gameplay. As for the sound design, between the crowd noise, sneakers squeaking on the court, buzzers, and music, all of it sounds really authentic and definitely helps sell the illusion of watching a live game.
Welcome everyone, thanks for tuning in to 2K Sports.
NBA 2K25's on-court graphics are mostly really impressive too. The court itself, along with the lighting of the arena and most of the players' faces, look great. That said, it's not all super polished though. Backgrounds and audience members can look pretty rough, and particularly in the My GM and My Career modes, models move and animate in ways that look more video game-like than human. The people in the crowd don't look nearly as bad as what you'd see in some other sports games, but there's still tons of repeated models even in the front few rows, and if the camera gets too close to any of them, you'll notice the lack of detail for sure. As for the people who are actually on the court, the more well-known players like Karl Anthony Towns and Larry Bird look great, but the other less popular players don't have the same level of polish, and the same goes for most of the coaches and other people sitting with them on the bench. Still, with the 9,000 new animations added to the game and the smoother transitions between them thanks to Pro Play, movement and flow are the best they've looked in a while, even if some players still move a bit awkwardly between plays. Performance is where NBA 2K25 takes a bit of a hit as well. The game froze on me a couple of times and even crashed once, and I saw constant frame drops when playing on online modes and when I was running around the city. The My NBA 2K companion app also gave me a huge headache while trying to scan myself into the game, and after 3 days of trying to get the game to acknowledge or load the scan, I just gave up on it completely. Load times between menu options and starting modes up also took a bit longer than I would have expected them to, but aside from the freezing and crashes, nothing was too bad. It's just a shame that the game seems to be having some fairly aggravating issues still, since it's been out for a while and gets updated so often.
You spent a lot of time thinking about this, didn't you?
Yeah, only my entire life.
NBA 2K25 delivers a mostly solid basketball experience with some moderately enjoyable gameplay and a top-tier broadcast presentation.
100%.
It's accessible to new and old players alike, and there's a ton of different modes to explore, but at the end of the day, it's still an annual sports title that comes with the usual baggage of modest year-to-year improvements, some uneven quality, and incredibly aggressive microtransactions. If you're already a fan of the NBA 2K games though, you'll still likely enjoy this one because these are the types of games that you either already like or know you don't. I doubt that many gamers are really on the fence either, and honestly, NBA 2K25 offers little to challenge that. They've definitely added smoother animations, updated the rosters, and refined some of the modes, but if you're expecting any real innovation beyond a light polish, you may walk away a bit disappointed with this one.
Appreciate your time.
As always though, this is just my opinion. Whether you're just starting your NBA career, or you've already become one of the all-time greats, let me know in the comments what you think of NBA 2K25.
If you have any other concerns, press or PR related, you know where to find me.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
That's what made him #1 last year. You can't stop him, and you can't even really contain him. And the dunk by Smith.
Defense probably not going to give him this opening again because Smith went way up there that time.
And so Steve Kerr calls for the timeout, looking for a breather and maybe just one or two things to talk about.